Hey everybody, welcome back to the Bible reading plan. We're in 2 Peter chapter 1 today. And 2 Peter is a book or a letter written by Peter, the apostle, who is writing probably in the same place around the same time as he wrote the last epistle. But the thing is that we know about this letter is Peter is telling us he knows he is about to be killed or martyred for his faith here. And so we believe it's in the time of Nero and the persecution of the church, right before we know, as church history tells us, Peter is martyred for his faith. So what I see out of the first chapter, he is, making this memorial of his teachings, trying to wrap all of his ministry up in this book, it seems. And he says here to be a church that never stops growing. He wants the church to never stop growing in number, but I see here he wants the Christian, the follower of Jesus, to never stop growing, because following Jesus is a lifelong pursuit. And he calls us, in verse 3, we'll start here. He says, His divine power has granted to us all the things that pertain to life and godliness through the knowledge of Him who called us to His own glory and excellence. That means that we have all the power has been granted to us. We have all the power that pertains to godliness and life. So for us to mature in the faith, for us to proceed to grow closer to Jesus, we don't need anything else. We as Christians have all that we need that pertains to life and godliness. It just depends on if we pursue life and godliness that will show if we truly want to pursue Jesus or love Jesus. But I love this. He says in verse 4, by which He has granted to us His precious and very great promises, so that through them you may become partakers of the divine nature, having escaped from the corruption that is in the world because of sinful desire. He says we as Christians are partakers of the divine nature. And if we follow Jesus and run towards godliness and life, then we too are exercising what it means to be partakers in the divine nature of God. And I think we forget sometimes in our walk, we make it so black and white or statistical, but we forget that we are partakers in the divine nature of God when we search for Him, when we go after Him, when we chase after these things: truth, life, godliness. And I love this here. I'll pretty much end with this in verse 5. He says, for this very reason, make every effort to supplement your faith with virtue. So you have faith in Jesus. Well, he says, okay, I don't want you to stop growing, because this is a lifelong pursuit of Jesus. You've been given everything you need for righteousness, for godliness, and you have been given everything you need to partake in the divine nature of Jesus, the divine nature that God has revealed to us. So he says, go after it. So here's how you go after it. Your faith that you have in Jesus, supplement that with virtue. Lean into the virtues. Love being the foremost. Patience, kindness, gentleness, the fruits of the Spirit. Lean into those. Try to make it your life's goal to grow in virtue only if you have that foundation in faith. Not virtue as your foundation, but faith as the foundation. And then he says, and virtue with knowledge. So we need to be learning about Jesus. If you're not a lifelong learner, then I would ask you, are you curious about Jesus? Do you want to know Jesus? Are you pursuing Jesus? Because if you love Jesus, you're going to love His creation. You're going to love the world. So I would propose to you that maybe opening a book about math or a book about nature or a book about history might be learning more about Jesus, because Jesus's world was back in history. Jesus's world is in math. Jesus's world is in geography. These things, we can be pursuing knowledge, but most importantly, knowledge in the Word of God. Knowledge here is the knowledge that we should be pursuing foremost, because it's the revealed Word of God to us, and that's how we pursue life and godliness. And then from knowledge, he says, supplement that with self-control. So you know a lot about Jesus, but the knowledge does nothing if you are not self-controlled in the knowledge. If you're using the knowledge, if you're letting that form you into a better, more self-controlled person that looks more like Jesus. Then from self-control, supplement that with steadfastness, a hope and a faith that does not move, that has self-control in that. No matter what the world throws at me, I know that by my self-control, I will stay to the hope that is in Jesus. and then from steadfastness to godliness, and then from godliness, he says brotherly affection, and brotherly affection with love. And a lot of these things would be not full by themselves. Like knowledge in and of itself is good, but a lot of the scriptures say knowledge puffs up. So if we have knowledge, but we don't have love, and we don't have brotherly affection, but we have self-control, but we don't have brotherly affection, we don't have love, or we have steadfastness, but we don't have love and faith and virtue, then those things don't matter. The things that truly are the foundation are our faith and our love and our trust in Jesus. And I would say have that, but also I encourage you today to never stop learning, never stop growing, never stop pursuing faith or virtue, knowledge, and everything that pertains to godliness. I hope you're encouraged by this passage. It's a lot, but I think Peter is trying to say a lot at the end of his life. And I hope you can just soak this in today, think over it, look into, I would say, expand your knowledge on what it means to be a divine partaker in the power and in the Spirit of God, in the divine nature of God. But thank you for joining me in the Bible reading plan. I hope to see you tomorrow. Bye.